Hey everyone. Oh my god, it's fucking hot in here. But I wanted to move to a car so I wouldn't be at my house reviewing the movie around a bunch of people and a nephew who would probably annoy me. This is the review for Luca, the brand new Disney Pixar film that has just dropped on Disney Plus for free, not of charge, even though it seems they want to charge money for the shittier films, like Mulan. Was there another one that charged? And Cruella. Cruella wasn't shitty though. I like Cruella actually quite a bit. But they want to charge money for the movies that I don't know are made for like $200 million by a studio that works on them for 7 years. They want to do it for apparently the ones that they know have a brand recognition to them, like Cruella and Mulan. And don't know why, because I honestly think Luca. Nothing came out this week in fucking theaters. Luca would have kicked ass this week. It would have made like probably 40 million. You could have done like a simultaneous release so people could see it on the big screen if they wanted. Because I really don't know why this one didn't specifically come. I can get why Soul did. A lot of big shit was coming out in December around that time. That was the Wonder Woman time, if you don't remember. Not a good movie, Wonder Woman, but it was a big movie. Soul probably would have lost to it, I think. Despite how much I love Soul. Luca is the 24th, I believe, Pixar movie. I'm going to do a ranking video, so I'm hoping I have 20. I only have 24 listed on a piece of paper right here. So I'm hoping that those are 24 and I'm not forgetting a movie. Pretty sure I have them all. Pixar movie. It was entirely planned ahead of time around 2018 and 2019, even rumored earlier back, but it was entirely animated and conceived during the pandemic. So all the animators did their shit at home. That was where all the stuff happened. So, as a whole, what is Luca about? Luca is about a kid named Luca, who's just having an ordinary coming-of-age life. That's really it. But there is one twist with him and his friend Alberto, who he meets very early in the movie. They're both sea creatures from the sea, so as they are underwater and they are sea creatures, they will have this sea creature appearance that you've probably seen in, like, mythology or just in general from artwork. But whenever they go on land, they quickly become human once entirely dry. And, in other words, they go to a place, I believe, Portoroso. I already forgot the name. Portoroso, yeah. Where the goal there is pretty much fucking killing fish and sea creatures. They fucking hate sea creatures there, so of course they don't want them around. And it's just a kid trying to experience life on Earth since he's kind of not loving what he's limited to underwater. It's that cliche, I want to do this running away story. It's like Little Mermaid, where she wants to find love and go out into a real world instead of being under the sea all the time. Kind of like that. That's really the premise. I don't know much you can get into without spoilers, and I kind of don't want to spoil it because it's on Disney Plus. Most of y'all can watch it. You should see it for yourself. Not that it's gonna be bad if I spoil it. You could predict this movie. It is a very simple kids film by any means, which doesn't mean it's bad. It just means it's simple and you could predict it. Let's go through aspects I really liked about it first. Main thing I liked first is the animation style. It doesn't look like most Pixar movies. I feel like Pixar movies try to go for like a sense of realism with like the cartoony character designs. This one has a very weird vibrance to it. Every character looks different than what I've seen a Pixar character look like in recent years. I've been used to that almost real look for like 50%, maybe 70% of their most recent movies, besides like Cars, where they're cars, so like, they're not going to be humans. But just for their designs, they look very unique and different. It looked more like something out of a stylistic choice from a DreamWorks film. Or it kind of gave me like Book of Life vibes, those character designs. But the movements felt like something of like a Sony animated film. But the like outworld of Luca, like the water, the trees, the environments look real. They look like a Pixar film. And it was this weird mixture that I like really appreciated, and I thought the style was very unique and fit for the movie. The animation, of course, is going to be great. It's Pixar. If it looked bad, people would probably be shocked as hell for them throwing $150 million to $200 million at a new original movie. You'd hope it looked good, and from Pixar, it's going to look good. Comedy, pretty damn funny. There's a lot of that chuckle-worthy filled tension humor where it's like, oh, if they get wet, they're fucked. They don't want to get killed. But there's a lot of like adult jokes and hidden references to stuff in there that adults will like. The comedy works, the voice acting works, the animation works. It's a fun and damn charming movie. Probably one of the most fun movies, just simply charismatic and simple plotted movies I've seen. But then the entire time I watched it, I had just a lot of parts where I just sat back and went like, this is fairly unoriginal or fairly simple and dull, and they don't go into much explanation for ideas. There are two things in this movie. The whole time I was thinking, I was like, holy shit, did the writers not like think to fix some of these things? Because I was really confused with some elements. First of all, it's a quick film. It's labeled as an hour and 41 minutes, I believe, on Disney Plus, and I thought it was gonna be maybe like an hour 32, because, you know, Disney credits are long. No, it has 16 and a half minutes of credits. Just like Soul, I had to remember, oh yeah, it's like 16 to 17 minutes of credits. Be ready to expect that. Because they have the main 9 minutes of credits, and then they have like a 30-second blank pause of nothing, and then they're like credits from like Spanish, Chinese, other voice actors, like people who would dub over the movie, workers outside of that. They go through them again in like the black and white list of credits. All the Marvel shows have it, if you know what the credits I'm referring to are, when it's on a streaming service like Disney Plus. And I was like, oh shit, so this movie only ended up being an hour and 23 minutes. And damn does it feel that short, because it does not go much of anywhere. The first 30 minutes alone, I had fairly a lot of complaints with it. I found the reasoning to why he wanted to leave to be unexplained and very dull. Probably the most dull I've seen a movie like this in a while. I found the characterization and explanation of the rules to what they are doing very minimal. Okay, so Luca has like parents, and in this film, of course he does. I mean, it makes sense. And his parent characters are like, you betrayed rules and been going to land. You're gonna go live with your, I think his name was Uncle Ergo or something, the guy who lives in the deep, who was, I noticed it with very quickly that it was Sacha Baron Cohen, who had a very funny role for only like a minute scene. Goddamn, was he funny? I wish he was in it a bit more. I probably would have gotten even more laughs. And that element was very good for a surprise, you know, like he was kind of like a Borat Italian character, like Italian Borat. Feels like he toned down the voice a little bit, and of course has that like underwater rasp, like hello, because you know they're underwater, which was a cool thing. They actually did do sound underwater. It wasn't just like clear voice dialogue. At times when they were underwater, it sounded a little muffled. I thought that was neat. They didn't do that in like the Finding Nemo and shit like that, so I just thought it was neat. But the parents in this movie end up going to, like, on land once their son is kind of a runaway. It's another runaway story. He wants to be with a friend. He doesn't like his limited life below. It's like what I said about Little Mermaid. But without the explanation and implications of what could happen if he did go above Earth, it's very quickly refrained to that. He goes on Earth, and his parents are constantly looking for him, and they're just beating the shit out of, like, a bunch of kids with, like, minimal explanation. But they're constantly addressing the fact, like, you're a sea creature, throw him in the water, But, like, isn't that going to be, like, worrisome if anyone else noticed it? Like, I feel like the parents going to Earth, or land, I keep saying Earth, like, it's not like they're not on Earth. They go to land, but there's, like, no explanation as to why they are doing this other than to find their son. Which they could simply find because he looks almost the exact same, just not, like, colored greenish blue. Like, and they throw a bunch of kids in the water, and it's a constant running gag. That's like their one joke, is they do it like in 3 different scenes or 4 different scenes. And I'm always questioning, like, does the kid not go like, oh shit, they're sea creatures, they're looking for their sea creature son? That, or they're insane and they're just fucking drowning us. Because they do it with around parents too, like in multiple scenes, and they address it in front of parents too, and they're constantly on the look for them very suspiciously. And they're gonna get themselves caught, and I completely, like, misunderstood the plot of that, especially because most of the plot doesn't delve around that. Eventually, after the first 30 minutes of just friendship, he's leaving land and becoming a runaway. That's what the plot is at first. The second and third act become about a race. There's a race, basically, where Alberto and Luca could win a Vespa, or win enough money to buy, like, a really cheap Vespa. And they meet this girl who also is a part of this triathlon-type race where you have to go swimming back really far and then back another way far. Then you have to eat like a huge bowl of pasta really quickly, and then you have to ride a bike around the city and get to a specific area. And they agree to become a team with this girl, and this girl has like a hunter, like a fisherman hunter dad. That's how he has his job, so of course they're like afraid of him because he'll fucking kill sea creatures. and they have this suspicious cat, that cliche cat character that's always like the animal that notices something's up, and they're like, and everyone else is like, get off of them, they're okay, why are you acting like they're suspicious, what's wrong with them? That running joke, with the animals always knowing, but the people don't know, and they always have that angry stare. They do that cliche. And it sounds like I'm shitting on this movie, but I had so much fun with it. Like, I consistently was like, this is entertaining, this is fun, I've seen this all before, of course, it's unoriginal. But Pixar finds a way to lighten it and just make it better than most other companies would. But because I just didn't think that this movie was going anywhere. I mean, shit, when you meet the villain's cliche is that he has, like, this high Weasley voice and he's a fucking dickhead who just rides a bike and he's rich and has won a bunch of the races and he got a really nice Vespa. That's his entire character. That is it. His character's not a good villain. It is a fucking terrible villain that no one can defend as a good villain. It is very weak and cliche and just there to be petty and annoying to the point of the characters. That is all he does. That is what most of the characters, aside from here, are limited to doing. But I had fun. With the story elements being a kind of a mess, I just had a fun time watching Luca. With all my complaints, I had a fun time watching Luca. It is very beautifully animated and funny and fast-paced. And it even goes to a place where I'm like, I could have expected it to go there. The friendship elements between Alberto and Luca, that element is what worked the best in it. It had the most emotional payoff, because I didn't cry anything for emotional reason, not like it's a super sad movie, but I didn't even cry because it was like a joyful ending. I cried, I was like, I just didn't cry. At the very ending, at the end of the day, the movie kind of ends in a place where I'm like, yeah, I could have seen it ending here. That was a quick ending. It kind of just like abruptly happened in a way. And it was like emotional for a reasoning point. But it didn't go anywhere where I was just like, holy shit, I didn't expect that. That's so sad. Oh my god, they're spending so much time on this and developing it. I just didn't know it was going to go there. And it quickly happens in that way. And I was just like, I don't know. Based on what this movie set up, I didn't think it might 100% go that way. Or there's a plot element involving that Luca wants to go to school with this girl in the real city because he thinks school has all this cool shit about, like, he can learn astrology. That literally is mentioned. They mentioned social studies. They mention space. Space is the main one mentioned. They mention a lot of shit, like classes I don't think you learn in a young grade. They talk about, like, advanced social studies, astrology, and, like, science and food. I'm like, I don't know. I feel like those are fake things you can learn on the internet, or more things that you would learn in a college study. It's just mentioned quickly, very briefly. The main one is space. How you can use telescopes and learn science, and he was like, that's what I want to learn. That's cool, because early on in the movie, he's told, like, oh, those are, by Alberto, like, oh, those are fish in the sky, and there's the giant mama fish, which is like the fucking moon, sun, like the giant mama fish that protects all the little fish. I thought that was a funny concept. And they have, like, dream sequences that are, like, elaborate and trippy, like where they think a Vespa could fly up to space so they could touch the fish and feel it. I thought that was a funny concept. The movie doesn't go much of anywhere. The movie is simple and laid back and predictable. If you do not predict this movie, you're probably 3 years old. Or fucking dumb. I'm sorry to say it. This movie is simple. I knew every element, every scene before it happened. I called it. But I had a fun time. I was never bored, really. Maybe in the first 30 minutes it's a little slow to get going. But I was just never really bored. I found it highly entertaining, highly intriguing. I liked the characters, I loved the look of the film, and I was laughing a decent amount. Enough to say that this is a good Pixar movie, but not a great. This isn't going to withstand anything amazing that Pixar has done. I would be amazed if someone said that they watched this and went like, that was so emotionally powerful, that was their best film yet. I didn't think it was above Soul, or even last year's Onward, and I would give this one under Onward. The reason I give Onward a leeway is I think Onward has some explanation, maybe more emotional grip to it without feeling forceful to have an emotional scene. This felt like it could have ended without, like, an emotional payoff. They try to have, like, a one, and it was fine and it worked for the story and I thought it was cute, but it didn't, like, have anything that needed to be there. I feel like they could have just been like, you can go to school and Alberto will go to school with you at the ending. Cheers. But I don't know, I feel like with minimal explanation, a really mediocre villain, and with a lackluster idea to go anywhere, it's more of a film that you watch to be like, this is a fun coming-of-age film about friendship, and you could turn it on and get some laughs, and it has great animation. It's above the shitty Pixar films, the mediocres, or even the okay ones, and, like, the okay sequels like Monsters University and Finding Dory that people shit on, which are just very, they're okay. It's above all that. It's under, and it's above some of the ones that I'm like, oh, those are pretty good logically, but there's some complaints that you could simply have. It's on a good factor. It's above a lot of films, believe it or not, because Pixar, I think, is really half and half. I think they're like in the mediocre bad section, and then they have their amazing section. This fits into like the few that I would call the good section. What I would put in the good section, you would ask, before I do like a ranking or anything, I'd say like, you know, like your Incredibles 2 type, where it's not shitty, it's entertaining and pretty good. Now that I say that, this is above Incredibles 2 by actually quite a bit. But I mean, this isn't in high ranks for me. I guess I could say it's where Onward is, but Onward I just had a little bit more emotional feeling for, and I thought was better explaining its story and a little bit longer to delve into stuff that I think we could actually feel emotion for. Luca's a pretty good film that is on Disney Plus right now. You might as well watch it if you have Disney Plus, because it's a fucking Pixar movie, and some people are probably going to love it more than me. It has a 90% on Rotten Tomatoes, so, you know, I could be completely wrong to anyone's opinion. I thought that this was a good film, a highly rewatchable film, because it's just fun. I've watched it twice already. I might watch it a third time. Even with my complaints, I'm really debating, because I feel like on an entertainment level, it's like an 8.5. It's like a really high entertainment level. But there's so many things that I just sat back and went like, every time I watch this, I'm going to think like, damn, they could have done something more with that. Like a lot more with that. It honestly makes me question, like, what was their intention here? So, for me, personally, I'm going to give it a 7.5 out of 10. Same score I gave Raya and the Last Dragon, actually, where I've been calling, I gave it like an 8 at first, but then I really thought about it, 7.5. I was thinking about 8 with this, and I'm thinking a 7.5. I put this a little bit above Raya, because I thought I had a little bit more fun with this. But Raya is a badass film. You should also check out. Enjoyable one. But I can't give it a great score. 7.5 I think is a really good, though. Like, that's really good score. It would be in my top 10 so far this year. I've seen only like 50 movies, but it's already one of the better ones. It's good. Yeah, watch it if you have Disney Plus. With that being said, for a Luca review, for me giving it a 7.5 out of 10, next videos will be the Pixar ranking video, so I can rank all the Pixar movies. You can hear my thoughts and opinions on all of them, and grant what I have a personal connection to. Maybe I don't. Maybe I just love some of them more than others, and I don't have a personal connection to shit. You'll see. I also have a review coming out for Fatherhood, starring Kevin Hart on Netflix this week. Nothing came out in theaters except the Sparks Brothers, which I did see back at South by Southwest. Solid documentary. I don't need to do a review of that. You can hear that here. But to be looking forward to shit, I'm going to an early screening of a movie that I was told not to say. I've told a few friends, but I'm not told to say it. Awesome screening, and you'll get a review maybe of that when the embargo drops. I do spoiler reviews when it comes to movies like the one I'm about to go see early. So I don't know. I might not want to do it unless I can get an in-depth talk about it. But I'll try to, just because I know it'd be cool to review it early. And simultaneously with that, I also feel like it would be good. My parents are home. That's awesome. I also feel it would be good to get more in depth with other movies that are at home. So that's it. Bye.
What's wrong with you, stupido?
You do it now. Just say the thing.
What's wrong with you, stupido?